25th, 2013 meeting of the Rules Committee come to order. Brother Snell, would you do the blessing?
Rise, please. Gracious Heavenly Father, thank you, Lord, for this beautiful day. Lord, we ask your blessings as we go through this committee meeting today. Bless our visitors that's with us today, Lord, and give us the wisdom we need, Lord, to make good decisions today for our people, and we just ask your blessings in everything we do. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Shall we call the roll?
Chuck Hudson Jr.
Here.
Dave Walking Stick. Bill England.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Joe Bird.
Here.
Julia Coates.
Here.
Jody Fishinghawk. Here. Meredith Fraley. Janelle Fulbright. Don Garvin. Frankie Hargis.
Present.
Tana Glory Jordan.
Present.
Lee Keener. Dick Way.
Here.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
David Thornton.
Present.
Kara Callan Watts.
Honey.
We do have a quorum.
All right. Entertain a motion to approve March 28, 2013 minutes. Councilor Hargis, Councilor Lay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Madam Speaker, do you have a motion for me?
Yes, I do. I would like to amend the agenda to bring forth 1 of old business and 1 and 2 of new business, and to move off the table resolution authorizing the limited waiver of sovereign immunity in connection with the wind energy evaluation leases and wind resource leases. Second.
Do we have a second? Second by Councilor Fishinghawk. All right. Motion is to move old business 1 and new businesses 1 and 2 before reports, then followed by that new business 2, the item in front of us, the Shalaco project, waiver of sovereign immunity. Is that correct, Madam Speaker?
Yes, I would actually ask that to become, I guess we could call it 2A.
Very good.
Or that may be, it may come under old business as 4. It's whatever the pleasure of the chair is.
Well, we can designate it old business for, I suppose we can designate it whatever.
But I would like to move the appointments first so that those folks don't need to have to stay all day.
Any discussion? Councilor Lake.
Is it possible to split those out?
You can ask for division, sir.
I would like to do so, please.
Very good. And is your
And how would you
division
like
the,
to split that, sir? The 3 appointments and the 1 off the table?
Madam Speaker, would you just withdraw, restate a motion to do the nominees?
Yes,
first?
I would be fine with that. I'll just ask to amend the agenda to move 1 of old business and 1 and 2 of new business to the forefront, and then I may come back later with another amendment.
Very good. We have a second to that motion on the nominees. We have a second by Councilor Hargis. Any discussion on that motion? Again, it's just to move the nominees. That is old business 1 and 2, new business 1. Before reports. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. We have a motion. Madam Speaker, do you have another motion for me?
Yes, the second motion would be to amend the agenda to bring off the table the resolution authorizing the limited waiver of sovereign immunity in connection with the wind energy evaluation lease and wind resource lease.
Second.
Second by Councilor Watts. Just by way of clarification, this language is identical, isn't it, Madam Speaker, to what was before us and tabled at our March meeting?
Yes, that's correct.
That identical resolution was brought up at our special rules meeting on April the 11th. That a modified version of that was tabled indefinitely. So now we're back to the same language that was tabled in March. I think it seems to me we're just amending the agenda here, whether or not we want to call it bringing off the table. I just want the minutes to reflect that chronology because it did take a bit of an odd route to get here.
I would defer to the chair on that.
Very good. Any discussion on the motion? Councilor Lake.
And so this revival of the Shalaco wind resource thing. It's not the one we tabled indefinitely last time.
It is not.
It was the one previous to that.
That's correct.
And is that in front of us now?
It is. It is. It was emailed out and it is available in hard copy in front of you.
Can we have just a few moments to
Certainly. Councilor Ray, you still have the floor.
Okay, thank you, sir. And did we ever have a contract to look at on the old one versus, I think we had something to look at on the one last month? In other words, what's the deal?
Yeah, well, it wasn't a contract, but a change to Cimarron Power's agreement is reflected in an email that was forwarded to all councilors this morning, a hard copy of which is in front of you. And Cimarron Power waives its fee absolutely on the project, which had been an issue. It's my understanding, and I may defer to Madam Speaker on this, but there's been an offer of $200,000 of upfront money, so to speak, paid when the lease is approved by the Bureau of Indian Affairs. Those are some of the substantial developments that's brought this back onto the agenda.
Well, for just go ahead and get it going on. That's all.
Very good. Any further discussion on this? Is it just a motion to amend? Very good. All those in favor of amending the agenda say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
One. All right. So we're now on the amended agenda, which would be old business item number 1. Chief Byrd, would you take this one, a resolution confirming the nomination of an individual?
Yes. This is a resolution confirming the nomination of Amber Lynn George as a board member of Cherokee Nation Foundation. So Amber, her family, she has a passion for education and for the tribe, and I would move that form of the motion.
Second by Councilor Walking Stick. Ms. George is here, I believe. Yes, please come forward. Would you like to share a few words with us?
Sure. Well, as he said, I'm Amber George, and I'm from Tahlequah originally. I graduated from Tahlequah High School in the 80s, the early 80s. I am married. I have 2 teenage girls, 17 and 15. All prayers are appreciated. I received my bachelor's from OU and my master's from Tulsa University in speech-language pathology. I've worked in the field all my life, 5.5 years at the health department in Muskogee in the capacity of a speech pathologist, a year and a half in the Tahlequah Public Schools, and I've been at NSU for the last 18 years as their clinic director and instructor for their speech path program. That's my background. I obviously enjoy education. It's what I've done all my life. I am a Cherokee citizen. It's something I'm incredibly proud of. I have served in the capacity of promoting education. I've served on the Boys and Girls Club Board of Directors for, I'm trying to think about that, 6 or 7 years now. And I've served on the Tahlequah Public School Foundation for about 5 years now. So this is my passion. It's something I enjoy. I believe that there's a lot of things we can do to promote education for Cherokee citizens, and I'd be honored if you let me do it.
Very good. Councilor Karen Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So it sounds like you're very comfortable with raising money for your volunteer-free position.
Yes.
Okay, very good. And I think the other question, I don't know who from admin is here. This shouldn't reflect on you, but I'm concerned, so I hope you take this as intended for the broader portion of our jobs. But I'm concerned because we went from a national board, so to speak, to now it's like everyone's Tahlequah. Does the administration have any input or feedback on that? Because it's like everyone that's come forward for this board and several others have all been Tahlequah folks and not from throughout the tribe or even the nation.
Well, they do have input on it, but I'll take it back to them and resolutions showing.
Okay, very good. I appreciate that, Mrs. Long. Thank you. Thank you for being here and your willingness to serve the nation.
Councilor Keener.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We well spoken, and since you have teenage girls, I'll try not to roll my eyes at you.
I've never had that done to you.
Now, did we just approve, the council approve your uncle and father for a board as well?
I think so, yes.
And then your husband also? Okay. Just wanted to make sure, but it does look like you have a good educational background. I'm just concerned with somebody of the same family being on the board. So,
Well, I mean, and that, I'm fine with that. I'm willing to serve in these capacities. I have done this in the past. I'm not so sure that maybe the knowledge of my work in this area isn't what hinders me, not because of any associations with anything else. I'm very different. My dad's a judge. My cousin was determined I was going to law school when I was in school. That's the one thing I was determined I wasn't doing. So I love my dad dearly, but our passions differ greatly.
and it was the administration that recommended you to vote?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further questions for the nominee? Thank you for your willingness to serve. Appreciate that. All right, well, we'll vote. All those in favor of the nomination say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Very good. Congratulations. See you at full council. All right. Madam Speaker, was old business item number 1?
And then 1 and 2.
I
One and
believe
two
we were
of
going
the-
to take the nominees first and then move to that other business item.
Sure, thank you. The next is new business item number 1, resolution confirming the reappointment of Stephen Wilson. Madam Speaker, would you take that, Mr. Wilson?
Yes, this is a resolution confirming the reappointment of Stephen M. Wilson as a commissioner of the Cherokee Nation Tax Commission. I believe Mr. Wilson is here to answer any questions you might have, and I will put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Madam Speaker, would you entertain a friendly amendment to change the seat designation? This next one, never mind, that's never mind. Welcome. Any questions for the nominee, Councilor Kyle Watts?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hi, Mr. Wilson.
How are you?
Good, thank you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing fine.
Very good. Have you enjoyed your service?
I have enjoyed it.
Very good.
We've got a wonderful leadership. Sharon Swepson, I don't know how you get along without her.
She is a rock.
And we've got 5 members on the board, Mr. Hummingbird, which he was there when the tax commission started. He's got tons of experience. I've enjoyed it very much. We also have a new member, Mr. Carter. He seems like a fine gentleman.
Do you have any recommendations for us on things we need to consider from a legislative perspective to help enable all of you to do your job?
Well, I don't know how liberal I'm supposed to be here on the subject. One problem I see in the tax commission is that it's accounting for alcohol. That's our biggest question right now. You know, it's hard to keep track of, especially mixed drinks that's served. Just the accountability on alcohol, which I think any organization that serves liquor has that problem, you know. Outside of that, I don't know. That answers the question, or?
Well, I want to make sure I heard you correctly.
Yeah.
So is that for tax reasons?
Tax
In
reasons.
terms of
Tax
okay.
reasons, you know, collecting the tax on the alcohol.
Okay. Because you would have to tax even comps, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Well, no, that's very helpful.
Okay.
That helps me know that you've absolutely been engaged in your job, so I'm happy to support you today.
Thank
you.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further questions for the nominee? Do you have anything else to add, sir?
I just, like I said before, I've just enjoyed the appointment. I'd like to be appointed again. I like serving Cherokee people. I've served them in the past in the education department. So I'd like to continue. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll now move to vote on Mr. Wilson. All those in favor of the nominee, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Thank you.
Madam Speaker, would you also take item number 2?
Yes, I would.
Would you make that motion and amend the resolution so that it reads seat 2 rather than seat 4?
This is for Ms.
That's
Watkins.
for Ms. Watkins.
C2,
Right.
and replacing in the resolution C4.
Yes, strike seat 4. It's my understanding, just a drafting error.
This is a resolution confirming the nomination of Glendon K. Watkins as a board member of the Economic Development Trust Authority Board of Directors, and this would be for C2 instead of the resolution saying C4. And just now, Ms. Fishing Hawk asked to be added as a sponsor. Ms. Fishing Hawk. And I would put that in form of a motion, and would also I've known Ms. Watkins for at least 35 years now. Good banker woman, and that's something that we need on this board.
Very good. We have a second by Councilor Walkingstick. Ms. Watkins, welcome. Do you have any words to share with us this afternoon?
Thank you. Yes. I'm Glendon Watkins. I am a proud member, registered member of the Cherokee Nation. My husband and I, Mike and I, have been married for 26 years. 3 daughters, all living, 1 in Tahlequah, 2 in Locust Grove and Salina, which is where we live part-time. And they also are members of the Cherokee Nation. I recently retired from Bank First in Tahlequah as a senior vice president in lending. During the 28 years that I worked there, I loved helping people to fulfill their dreams of building homes, home buying, home improvements, starting new businesses, expanding businesses, and consumer loans, all types of loans that I was engaged in. And I would like to offer my experience in that, and I would consider it an honor to serve on the board of the Cherokee Nation Economic Development Trust Authority, and it would give me an opportunity to donate, pay back, give back to the Cherokee Nation. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for the nominee? Councilor Campbell?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Hello, Ms. Watkins. How are you today? Very good. I am going to support you today. I've heard exceptional things about you as an individual, but I want to express concerns to the administration again, which this is not of your doing. When I initially saw your name and figured out that Mr. Watkins was our Cherokee Nation Businesses Board member, it brought pause because we have so many close relationships involved in leadership across the nation at this point. But then I started thinking about, you're doing this for free, you have exceptional skills, and I don't think that they would ever cross in terms of the jobs or decision-making that's done for the Cherokee Nation Business Board versus what you're doing for our entrepreneurs who need your background and expertise. So I resolved for myself that I didn't feel like that was a conflict of interest. But again, we have more Tahlequah folks coming forward, and there's a, it sounds like you're uniquely qualified and a great asset, but you are at the end of the long line of only Tahlequah or area nominees, and it's frustrating for us when we know that the rest of the Cherokee Nation is here to serve as well. But you will have my support today, but I hope that Lisa will take those concerns back to the chief, so thank you very much.
We actually live probably more in Salina than we do in Tahlequah. That we actually just let our granddaughter move in there, so I think Salina's going to be our home for a while.
Very good. Well, thank you for your willingness to serve.
And any concerns, I thought about this. I feel like I'm a grown woman. I can make my own decisions. I would not be influenced by anyone else, and I'm used to doing that in the bank. Well, except for my boss. I did listen to him. But I would not be influenced by anyone else.
Ms. Watkins, that's the best conflict of interest answer I've ever heard. And it's right on the money. Any further questions, Councilor Cameron?
That's it, thank you.
Councilor Lane?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. That's the same answer my wife would have given, so I understand that answer. I noticed that you grew up in Blackwell.
Yes.
And so you're not maybe exactly from homegrown Tahlequah gal, but the fact is that we have a lot of Cherokee folks out in Kay and Osage County, as you know, better than I do. And so I appreciate the fact that you weren't homegrown Tahlequah, and we are getting somebody with a different perspective, maybe. That one counselor raised an issue of, and I'd like to be added as a sponsor. Thanks, sir.
Any further questions to the nominee? I appreciate your willingness to serve. I'll move to a vote. All those in favor of the nominee say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Very good. Yes.
I wanted to express from Courtney, she wanted me to let you know she would have been here today, but she's with the chief today in Washington, D.C. He's presenting before Congress on sequestration and how it's affected Cherokee.
Very good.
She will be.
We appreciate that. All right. All right. We're going to have before us on the agenda the resolution authorizing limited waiver of sovereign immunity relating to the Cherokee project. Madam Speaker, would you take that, please?
Yes, this is a resolution authorizing a limited waiver of sovereign immunity of the Cherokee Nation in connection with the wind energy evaluation leases and wind resource leases to Cherokee Wind Farm LLC. As you know, I was the person that asked for it to be tabled last time. I'm also the person that asked for it to be brought off the table today. My understanding is the terms have substantially changed. I am going to ask the chair to review those terms with the body. I was very unhappy last time, and I'm cautiously optimistic at this point. I wanted to see Cherokee Nation receive money further towards the front. My understanding is that there is $200,000 that is now being offered by P&E up closer to the front of this transaction. The other thing that I was concerned about was the price of the consultant fee. And you have before you a couple of things that were given to us with additional information that where CMB is no longer taking a fee as the consultant. So these things made me cautiously optimistic that this project needed to move forward. There is a deadline on I believe it's called the interconnect fee. Someone may correct me. Kara may know more about what that proper term is, being an engineer, but I think it's called the interconnect fee that has to be in place by June 31st, or this deal will be permanently dead, I think. So that was the reason I brought it back off the table, and that was the reason I put it on the table before. I didn't like the terms. I'm beginning to embrace these additional terms and would like to move forward with a motion.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilor Kendall Watts. Anything further, Madam Speaker?
That would be, well, I was going to ask you, and I probably did just, I probably already went into it, what I knew about how we had got the terms changed, but you might go ahead and, you know a little more given the information that you've been given.
Well, it's difficult to put it clearer than you have. I would just direct Councilor's attention to two emails that's been passed out. It's also emailed this morning. One is from David Walters, the representative from Cimarron Power Ventures, and the other is from Andre DeRosa, Managing Director of P&E, both of which go to this issue of the consulting fee, which was an issue for a number of councilors, including Madam Speaker, but not limited to her. The fee has been waived for Cimarron Power, and I said that at the top of the meeting when we were considering amending the agenda. And Mr. DeRosa's email just reinforces that, just should put to rest any concerns that perhaps consultants are getting paid in some other way. They are not. The $200,000 is upon the notice to proceed, I think is the terminology, and that's in connection with the BIA's approval of the lease agreement. So that would be all I would add to that, Madam Speaker. Any further discussion? Councilor Layton?
These emails, by the way, must have hit as I was traveling to Delaware. And so, I've read through them, and I don't see anything about the increase of $200,000. I don't see any additional contracts. And here's the deal, folks. They're offering $6 million, I guess, still, if that's correct, or if it's not, somebody correct me. But nothing's up front. This $200,000, as I understand it, is not up front. It's only when the BIA signs off on the agreements. We've got 3 years before the BIA has to sign off on the agreements and this thing disappears. This company is running on somebody else's money. If they're serious, they need to put up at least $1 million, and this is what I've talked to David and Andre about previously. They said no money could be put up, and all of a sudden $200,000 appears. But it's not real money. It's not real money. It's in some mysterious contract we haven't seen. And it's going to be paid if and when the BIA approves the leases. The other thing is, both of these emails, I'm reading them now, I have submitted a FOIA through the Attorney General's office asking a lot of questions. Some of these questions are answered in these two emails. I'd like to know how these two people obtained a copy of an internal Cherokee Nation document that has not yet become public knowledge. I'd like the Attorney General's office, I'm putting you on notice right now, I want an investigation into how that happened. Something's not right here on this deal and I don't like it. That's all I got to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor. Any further discussion? Councilor Campbell, Councilor Thornton.
Go ahead.
Okay, Councilor Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I briefly read these emails because I was also en route on the way to meetings. And actually, I think they're addressing some of my concerns and other folks' concerns. So it sounds like we all have similar concerns at the end of the day. So I'm not asking that you in any way don't ask for an investigation, but because this project seems to have a lot of distrust around it, I do want to know, as a fellow member of the body, I would just like to share that with Councilman Lay, that there's maybe a little bit more to it that just has to do with everyone on the body expressing concerns, and it seems like everybody's tried to read and understand what's going on. So I know we also submitted a FOIA, or I had, and then Councilman Anglin and Councilman Keener, we went to the AG's office to ask about the consultant's contract, and we came down an hour early on Monday to do that because we were told we couldn't be shared that contract any other way, and then it wasn't provided to us. So there's a lot of stuff going on. I think that if we're going to even consider moving the wind farm forward, the way I understand the interconnect is it's already been delayed, and P&E and its investors, I think, have to do, and somebody correct me if I'm characterizing anything wrong, because I'm trying to remember all the stuff over time. But I think they have to provide $1.2 million. That's nothing that we have to provide in order to meet the interconnect agreement. So that's a lot of money they're putting forward, or someone, but it's not us. And that's part of that P&E consortium on how they fund and find investors to fund wind energy, which I'm not an expert in. But the deadline is really with like PSO or whoever the electric company is, that we're in a queue. So not only is somebody else providing the money, the way I understand it, but there's a queue that we're in, and if we don't exercise that, we either get completely removed from the list, or we have to start over, which will be another 2 or 3 year process. So what I'd really like to understand from the AG's office, or whoever's here to represent what's going on, I think for myself and from talking to some of my colleagues, I think we really lack an understanding of where we're at today and what's involved. So if this is a waiver that has just to do with the lease for the land at Chilocco, what does this trigger, whether there's money or not? And when is money received? I think there's BIA leases that are part of this. So we have multiple triggers. It is, I mean, I think it's straightforward, but it's not, because there's all these triggers, and there's other agencies and there's other people involved beyond P&E and Cherokee Nation, and whether or not that consultant's even involved anymore or not. Does that help? So if you could kind of give us a summary, that would be very helpful. May I yield my time to the AG's office? Thank you.
We would expect to sign a wind energy evaluation lease, which we would have both a trust land lease and a fee land. So one of them would have to go to BIA, the other would not. They also want us to sign the wind resource lease at the same time. So although the BIA does not approve that wind resource lease at this time, they want us to show that we in fact agree to that lease. It goes as an attachment to the wind energy lease. They have a 3-year period to sign that wind resource lease. The development agreement is in line with the wind resource lease. So we don't, the $200,000 goes with the BIA approval, $200,000. It's in the development agreement, it's not in the leases. We don't, we'll send it off for approvals. We don't know the time period of how long it takes to get those approvals. That's about what I know. As of the time we sent you the documents, that's the last we've been involved. I sent out those documents, so I know nothing about changes or whether the consultant's available. From what I've heard, he's not. I don't know. I haven't.
So according to this email that's been distributed to the council from Walters Power, is that it looks like he's walking away from, I mean, he's committed to helping the project through, but he will not receive any money. So, we tried to do due diligence and try to, because we got indications that people wanted to bring it back, which we were excited about. We believe in this project, or I do, and several of the others do. So we tried to do due diligence because our concern was around the compensation to the consultant when Walters Power. So AG Hembry indicated that he didn't know anything about a contract. And we went an hour early out of our time to go down here. We weren't shown a contract. Now he's saying he's giving up a contract. So if the contract's executed, and I guess it does exist, I don't know, how does it get revoked? Is this email legal and now it's revoked and he won't make a penny? Or
I haven't thought of anything since the time I sent this, so I don't know what he's agreeing to do.
Mr. Chair, do you know if we can, who would be able to straighten this out so that this body could feel comfortable moving this to full council?
Well,
Possibly.
what I would tell you is when the man puts in writing that he's not earning any money off this project, I expect between now and full council that to be further memorialized than it's already been by his own hand. These things move quickly. Getting this on the agenda has moved somewhat quickly because we're balancing the pressing nature of that deadline, as described earlier, and the need for us to complete our process. The beauty of this process is it's two-step. I submit that if we take Mr. Walters at his word and what he's written here, for now, trust but verify that between now and full council, we'll be poised to approve this at full council. That's my suggestion to you. Business deals move quickly, and this is no different.
So I guess my questions to the Attorney General's office is, what contracts are out there? What do they look like? Even if they're old contracts that have since been completed or expired, exhausted, never were executed. I mean, like, over the life of this project, what do we have contractually? Do we know that there's anything out there? Including or Walters Power, whatever that is, way before council, not the day of, not the day before. I mean, we're talking about we need to have this a week before. I'm trying to remember where we're at. So like in a week, we need to know from a legal review for the folks responsible for overseeing those things for the Cherokee Nation and the constitutionally. We need that. And then is there someone here representing the chief's office that can talk to, like, whether or not we've expended money, what are we out, and what about the Walters contract? Because I understood the Walters contract was
Point of
signed by the...
clarification,
Yes, Mr. Speaker.
Councilor Watts, do you want to ask for it to be put on the table again? I'll second that. These are very legitimate questions. If you want to put it on the table, we can just put it off for another couple of months.
I don't think that's necessary if we get everything that we've been asked for, because it sounds like there's other FOIAs. I mean, and they've been out. This is not suddenly we're asking for stuff.
Now, I'll sure second if you want to do a motion to...
I don't care to table it. I'd like to move it forward with the commitment that we're going to get answers so that we can be prepared
I
for full
misunderstood
council.
you then. I thought you wanted to delay it. I'm sorry.
No, I want to keep moving.
Would you yield just momentarily
Yes.
to me? Elizabeth, I have no doubt that Mr. Walters means what he says when he says in writing that he's waiving his compensation. But I need to test that, any doubt anyone else's has, by seeing something between, not right before full council, but with enough time for councilors to review. You can only do what you can do, but will you commit to help us get that ASAP? A week's time, I think, would be. It might be where we have to look at this document in an office because these documents are confidential. But I want them to be made available. And these things change so fast. Striking provisions for compensation don't necessarily happen like that. You'd agree with that, don't you? You've got to go through a very lengthy document to make sure you strike the appropriate provisions. And I expect that'll be done surely in a week's time. And I yield back to Councilor Campbell Watson.
So I guess the only other thing that I'm curious about is, not curious, I need to know before I take a final vote, is what have we expended to date? Because I think there's confusion about whether or not the Cherokee Nation is out money. So if this...
As far as I know, the Cherokee Nation's not out.
And I think your qualification is what I've consistently heard from everyone. So if I ask CNB folks or if I've asked Cherokee Nation folks, they all think that we haven't expended money. So has there been a search, and can I see a summary page that says, no, here's what we have or have not expended?
I can check with them. I haven't seen a summary page, but I know from the Cherokee Nation's view, we haven't expended it. C&D has the grant, and so it's a matching grant. So I know they have expended some, not for this present time contract, but in the past trying to evaluate this issue, they have expended some of that grant.
So although we are at an arm's length from our businesses, that's still our money, the tribal money. So I would like to know whether it's Cherokee Nation businesses, whoever it is that might have the grants or have the, because I know it has moved at times in terms of ownership of the project. what has been expended, so if this project does not proceed, the questions I've gotten from constituents is, what are we out money-wise? So, I mean, and is there, in the legal review, is there any cost? Has a contract been signed, whether we agreed to it or had knowledge of it, where people will be paid money regardless of whether or not? I just need that in a summary. Because I thought that was a good question. There's been other people that have been on this project. This is
Well,
not
let's
just
ask the
involved.
question, okay?
Are you asking her to check that out, or are you
Yes.
asking her to answer this question?
Yes.
And you can check it out,
I have no knowledge of
Elizabeth.
anything right now, we just have to check it out, because I can't answer that.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
thank you. And we have several counselors in the queue here. Counselor Ford was next.
Yes, I'm still not positive on this project. I don't think that if we don't vote on this, that this project is going away and won't never come back. I also think that we're waiving sovereign immunity on fee land. To me, that's state tax land. Maybe I'm thinking that, but that's what it is. You waive sovereign immunity on state tax land, the state can come in and do their bit. It's awesome. And I'm like that barking dog. I'm going to start barking here. As far as Walters and his company or any other company comes in, I'm sure we got to have somebody to do this job. I'm not, the $1 million up front, I'm not against that. The $6 million, I'm not against that, but I think we can be smarter with this project for our people. Now that's the way I think about this deal. I think we can disperse this grid of this electricity and disperse it out to some of our people in that area. If we can't hit our people, then we can hit our businesses in that area. And I know we've got Cherokee Nation business has some business up there. We have some casinos in that area, and I think we can knock our price of electric down in that area. But I don't think we're using this very smart. Now that's the way I feel about it. I think we need to disperse this electricity in a project that will help our people or help our business. And I don't really like the way it's set up. So I'll be voting no. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Madam Speaker, had you next, unless you're point of clarification.
Well, I do want to clarify. I'm just saying I'm cautiously optimistic. I see this as one step forward. I don't see this as the end result because we've got another whole stage of going through the tribal council. I would assume that we're going to find out a whole lot more information in the next 3 weeks, because if we don't, if we find out other consultants are involved of an old nature, I can't support paying a bunch of people that some contract is buried somewhere at C&B when this is a Cherokee Nation project. I too want to know, are there old consultant contracts out there? We only know about the present consultant now, so I'd like for you to scrub the records of both the Nation and C&B to see if there is an old consultant agreement, because this was here before this administration came in. This has been here for an almost 10-year period. If there's something there that we don't know about, we need to know about it as a body before we take a final vote on this. Should this move forward in this small way today? And I realize these are confidential contracts. That was why I understood that they've been made available to everyone to review there in the AG's office, which is a practice that is not new to this body. That practice has been enforced ever since I've been on the council when it dealt with contracts of a confidential nature. I remember going with our present Attorney General that used to be our lawyer here for the council a number of times, going over to review documents that were of a confidential nature that past administration did not want out in our hands, that they then might get out into the public because of their confidential nature. I was aggravated when I had to do it then. I'm aggravated that I have to do it now. But as a lawyer, I realize that there are times when if you give something out to 17 hands, it can accidentally be picked up off of somebody's desk. So I fully realize, even though I get aggravated, I fully realize that that's part of what we have to do in this body, is sometimes we have to go physically look at something rather than have it in our hand where it might get out to in a very public way before all deals are set. I agree with Mr. Lay, Councilman Lay. I'd like to see $1 million on the table, and I expect them to fully try to continue the negotiations between now and the time we go to council, because nothing's set in concrete. All that means if we vote to move it forward today, that's a very, very small step. You all understand there's 3 more weeks that then you take another vote on this. It may pass, it may not pass. I'm fully in line with Councilman Watts, or Council Lady Watts on this. If we need more time, if she'll make the motion, I'll darn sure second it to table it. I'm just trying to get this to a discussion stage because the terms appear to have substantially changed. So that's where I'm at on this. I believe I am, after hearing the arguments today, going to support this issue being moved forward to full council, with a lot of work to be done by the Attorney General's office. And we need, if this is coming off the table, then of course there is I'm assuming, a consultant's agreement that will have to be modified to remove the monetary factor. And I expected that was going to be done within the next 3 weeks. So that's what I have to say about it. I'm very cautiously optimistic now, and I think it can move from this committee to full council and still be fully vetted before we get there, or somebody make the motion to table. Because I'm here to discuss it today because I see the terms have changed.
Thank you. Madam Speaker, Councilor Keener.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I guess you really can't answer a whole lot of our questions. And one question I have was, we have 2 lease agreements, correct? So with CPV on board, we would not have the first lease agreement. Am I correct in that? We would not have the wheel. We would bypass that.
No,
We would still
it's
have.
not
They're all involved in the second part of it.
They're not involved in any of it other than helping to discuss the contract and try to better negotiate it from a Power Ventures mentality, because the people involved don't have that awareness yet. They are not taking any of the place on any of it. They won't be involved in any component of it. Not in the leases, not in the development.
Although the claim was made we wouldn't make as much, initially it was Cherokee Nation businesses, where that's a good place for it to be, because it's a business. And now it's in the nation. And then you had the approval then 17-1 to go forward, but then once CPV was introduced, that's when all the problems started. Does that sum that up?
C&D could never do the leases. They didn't own the company. And it became this divide when they were negotiating the development agreement and the tribe was negotiating leases, and it was very difficult because we had 2 different sides negotiating different things. We brought it all together. They couldn't ever do it completely because they didn't hold the lease. They couldn't hold the leases. They didn't own the lease. So that's when that decision was made.
And so not seeing that agreement with CPV, we don't know if any money's been transferred to them, right, or to date, or do we know that any has been for the work thus far?
Not that I'm aware of, that
But we don't know. Okay. And if we do take him at his word, he says when the project is completed, if our contributions are deemed worthy of payment, then CPV will be pleased to be compensated compensated in an amount determined at the sole direction of the tribal council. So that's a little bit open-ended as well, wouldn't you think? I'm sure that would be based on some kind of a figure. The
I haven't
percentage.
read that email. I don't know anything about it, so
Okay.
I've not been involved in that, so I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about all, I mean, I can tell you what's in the documents, I can tell you if they're legal, but I'm not really here to.
On some of the documents
Sorry.
you can tell us, the ones you
Yes.
know of, you can
Yes.
tell us.
And that brings up a good point. This is not our contract or our deal. We assist with information and assist this body when asked for certain situations, but we are not advocating one way or the other, we're just assisting. And so I realize this was brought up today, and I'm not sure everyone knew that this was set for today. So,
No one's here to really advocate for it. I'm just here to answer questions if you have specific questions.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
thank you, Counselor. Counselor Byrd.
Yes, I just want to clarify something. We voted to table this indefinitely last time. In listening to Councilor Kara Watt, she's got many questions still yet that are unclear. And then she made a point where there were some council members or people wanting to bring this back up. I was not one that wanted to bring it back up. I thought there was a group in with the speaker that wanted to bring it back up. I was not in that meeting. So it seemed like the conditions have changed. I'd like to have $1 million up front if it is that valuable. And then we negotiate. So we've got 3 weeks to maybe get something on the table here that's worth addressing. But I want to clarify some things on how I see on that issue, okay? Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Fraley.
We're in phase one, right? Is this considered phase one, authorizing these leases, sovereign immunity on these
They've
leases?
talked about phases and then they've done away with phases at different points. I'm pretty sure we're in phase one, yes, and the other tribes are in phase two, as far as I know.
If this were approved, this waiver were approved, what does that trigger?
That
This is
means
for
we
leases.
finish with negotiating the leases and the development.
Okay, so
because
the
they're
next
not-
phase would be negotiating,
Finishing, yes, and then
and those agreements that we were offered or to read, are those still in effect?
those are the very latest provisions we've not touched.
Because it's
The 200,000, the 1 million, none of that's been included. We haven't touched them to add anything like that to
Okay.
the development agreement. What you've seen is the last of it.
I think it's a good business deal, not only for the Cherokee Nation, but for the other tribes involved. But there are many questions that people have. If you can get that forward, I'm going to vote for it because I think we need to move forward. Because I think it's a good business deal. If you can get the terms and everything clarified for those that have concerns. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Lay.
Yes. Well, you know, we have money in this project. I think CMB wanted to be reimbursed almost $600,000. So apparently we have money in this project. That was our money. Anything at CMB belongs to this table right here. Folks, don't forget that. It belongs to the tribe. So we have money in this project. I've been told the company, PNV or whatever their name is, has money in this project, but I have not seen that yet. That's part of my question. I have asked those questions for 2 months and never got one answer out of anybody, including your group, and Lacey Horn's group, and CMB's group. I have now put it in a FOIA. And here again, I'm going to tell you again, whoever released that FOIA to these people, if that happens, heads need to roll. And I'm asking for that investigation again from the Attorney General's office to see if that happens. Councilman Keener pointed out, the governor's not going away. If this project is completed and you like what I did, you can pay me. That sounds like an agreement from somewhere, from somebody to me. I don't know if it was from the P&E company or us, but that's one of those agreements that just doesn't hold water. That's a bucket that's got a hole in it. This has been going on for 10 years under the previous administration. I noticed they never brought it forward. Why? There's a lot of questions here, and we're gonna, y'all know I don't like windmills to begin with. We're gonna go over there and run that property. We had a chance to put a casino on that property at one time, and Chad Smith was talked out of it somehow, some way. There's no casinos over there. There should be, because it was an excellent spot to put one. That's all I got to say. I'm against this 100%.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Garvin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not saying how I'm going to vote at the council meeting, but I think time is of the essence. We need to push this on forward. And there's genuine questions been brought up, and I think most of them can be answered with the help of Cherokee Nation and everybody else. But I think it's a profitable deal for Cherokee Nation, and all the concern I might have is when these windmills begin to wear down. I understand they're hard. The upkeep's going to be expensive, but that's a way out in the future. I don't know how long they last, but I've observed those wind farms in California, and you see one that's not turning, kind of scares you. It just looks like a wounded duck out there. But I think time is of essence. We need to push this to the council, and we can vote against it then if we want to, but right now we need to get all this together and get everybody's questions answered. And I think with your work, and Todd and everybody else, we can have some answers by May the 13th. I think it's the next meeting. So I will vote yes to push this forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Walking Stick.
Well, my concerns is the governor, and I correlate the governor as our Ross Swimmer in previous days, and for all the money that Ross Swimmer's being paid, and I don't want to make that same mistake with the governor and protect him. And that's not he still got his hand in the cookie jar here, but the thing is, wind's always going to be there. This thing's been tabled for years. If we table it and we don't vote on it, it's going to be there 3 years, 5 years from now. Natural gas is the way to go. And there's a lot of risk involved. And we've all elected to make sound business investments. And there's pros and cons to this, and I guess the cons are the unanswered questions. So with all that being said, I'll be voting no against this, and just because of the all unanswered questions. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Counselor. Counselor Fulbright.
Yes, thank you. I'm very concerned about this, and as Councilor Walkenstick pointed out, I see that natural gas is the thing of the future, not wind, because so many of the wind farms, something's wrong out there. They've been turned off, and I've also been told that there's only a moderate amount of wind stream in that area. I do have some real concerns. I want us to make money, but I don't know if this is the right direction to go. But today, I'm going to vote yes to try to give it a chance to go forward and get all of our questions answered. And I have some real concerns about what Councilor Lake shed some light on here. Is it just a coincidence that what he asked for in his FOIA, these exact questions are now being answered, which I don't know exactly what his FOIA was, but he seems to make me think that someone looked at it and answered his questions, and I don't know if that's exactly the right way to go about things. I have some real concerns there too. But I feel like we all 17 are trying to make the best decision we know how to make money for the tribe, but the question is this actually the best thing to do? But I don't want to be a holdup on it if it is the best thing that we need to do. So today, I'm going to go ahead and vote yes. And I'm not saying that I'm right or that the other people are wrong. We all have to make our own decision. I hope it does turn out and make money for us. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Counselor. Any further discussion? Counselor Smith.
At the end of all the negotiations and everything, how are we going to award a contract? Is this a design built, or is it going to be negotiated, or is it going to be bid out? Are we going to have more than just one set of numbers?
Let's let Ms. O'Dell respond to that.
The leases will go forward. The development agreement, P&E will be the one who will get investors that will build. Whoever they bid out will be on them. We won't have any involvement in that. They will build it.
We want to have no say about who bids on the project. So
Councilor,
what if it's just one bidder?
could you yield, is it that we also won't be paying this, they're gathering investors to pay for the construction? Correct. Yeah, so, Councilor, we're not writing a check, rather P&E is gathering investors to construct this, which is another indication of its potential that they can attract these investors.
Yes, we won't be the ones building it. We won't be putting the money in. We will be leasing the property for them to develop this wind farm.
Okay, thank you.
Any further discussion? Any further discussion? Elizabeth, just to reiterate, I'm sure it's crystal clear, but the expectations of the committee is that there be an opportunity for counselors to inspect, an in-camera inspection, in the office inspection, the agreements, to the extent that they can't be disseminated in office inspections exception. To get further assurances of the details, to get further assurances of the new development, which is that CPV, which raised a red flag for some of us, is in fact getting no compensation. That's something we need to see. And I know this is all coming new to you, but rest assured that's what the representation has been from Cimarron Power, and that's what we expect the documents to reflect. In a week's time, you may not be able to answer this, but I would expect in a week's time that could be made available. Would you take that back to the Attorney General? But that's our expectation. To the extent that there's FOIA requests, some response needs to be made to the counselors in connection with this. And I'm not saying you have failed to respond personally, but if there's not been a response to FOIA requests that touch on this project, really any FOIA requests, but particularly this project, then some response needs to be made. And I don't know about the specific requests, but that's what I'm hearing from counselors, is there's FOIA requests that they've heard nothing about. And if that's true, that could be a poison pill for this thing. Please take that back to the board. Counselors, we possess 100% of the leverage right now. We possess 100% of the leverage up until our vote on full council. We just do. The issue is whether we want to balance the pressing nature of this project. I'm not a wind energy expert. I'm not a wind energy business expert. I was elected to try to use good judgment on these things, but I was also elected to make sure that folks that are in place on the administration side can exercise good business judgment. I'm probably an expert on not a whole lot, but I can't be an expert on everything. I can't be an expert on everything. I won't be an expert on wind energy between now and full council, I can assure you that. But I can evaluate the representations that have been made by people who make a living off wind energy, who make a living off consulting on wind energy. They're not in the business to lose money. They're in the business to make money. So we have to balance the pressing nature of this versus our need to evaluate the project. And so I want to echo what I've heard several counselors say, which is let's pass this today. Elizabeth's going to go back to the Attorney General. She's going to give him I would say you're going to give him a good talking to. You're going to respectfully pass on our sentiments. And I suspect many of us will talk to the Attorney General. And I don't mean to say the Attorney General has held anything up here. He's got a lot on his plate, but he needs to hear how important this is. The folks that are involved in this project, Mr. Walters Group, Governor Walters Group, P&E. To my knowledge, those representatives have been available to answer questions. And I not only expect they'll be available to answer questions privately, one-on-one, in groups, on full council, I'm going to specifically request that they be available to answer questions in person, on the phone, email, otherwise, between now and Florence. This is an opportunity for us to do what we talk about a lot, which is to be leaders when it comes to protecting the environment, conserving energy. Now, we do a lot to that end, but this is an opportunity for us to be leaders. Because in fact, and I don't know if you know this, Elizabeth, this will be the largest wind energy project of any tribe in history. The largest. Why shouldn't Cherokee Nation do it? Somebody else will do it. We should do it. This is an opportunity for us to be the kind of leaders that we aspire to be. Again, we've got to trust at some point, but we also ought to verify. And that's what we're going to do over the next 3 weeks. And I think in 1 week we'll get a lot of information, because I know you'll take that back to the Attorney General. So I support moving this forward. I believe this will make us leaders in the field of wind energy and energy conservation. I think it will yield revenues to the tribe, and that's a good thing. And we could put that money back in to the services that we want to provide to people. To Councilor Thornton's point, he shared with me those same ideas out in the hall. This idea of harnessing this energy for our people. But that's a good journey to be on. But every journey takes a first step. So I'd say to the councilor, if we're going to do that, we need to pass this today. If we're not interested in doing that, we should not pass this today. Because I think the window's closing on this deal. So let's move it forward. Let's scrutinize it over the next few weeks. Any further discussion? All right, let's proceed to a vote. This is a resolution. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Roll call.
Chuck Huskin Jr.,
Yes.
China Glory Jordan,
Yes.
Lee Keener,
Yes.
Dick Legg,
Nope.
Curtis Snell,
Yes.
David Thornton,
No.
David Walkingstick, Kara Cowan Watts,
Yes.
Bill England,
Yeah.
Jack Baker,
Yes.
Joe Byrd,
I abstain.
Julia Coates,
Yes.
Jody Fishinghop,
Yes.
Meredith Bradley,
Yes.
Janelle Fulbright,
Yes.
Don Garvin,
Yes.
Frankie Hargis.
Yes.
We have 13 yes, 2 no, and 2 abstentions.
Very good. Now move back to the regular order of things, which is reports. Representative from the Marshal Service. And our agenda is a bit long, so I'd ask you to keep your reports concise. Councilor Kamwatz.
Marshall report, right?
Yes.
So, he did, Marshall Beal added the Crown Moore stuff, but he didn't have any details. So I didn't know what they were, and I
Right.
think that's just as important. So-
Okay, the details are pretty small at this time. They had one domestic in the parking lot at Claremore. It was verbal domestic. Claremore PD was on scene, said they didn't need any assistance. And Hastings had a nurse that lost her keys in her car. So, and that's the only two things we've had at those. Now, this next month will probably be more updated because we were kind of doing it at the last minute, going back through the logs, trying to catch up on this month.
Okay, and all it has to be is that, like, what it is, like when you have this,
Okay.
is broken out so that we understand what's
We can
going on
do that.
here. And if the Claremore PD responded versus us.
Okay.
That was the other part. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Councilor. Anything to add to your report, sir? That's not already contained in the written report?
No, we did have a couple of calls for service during the tornadoes up north. We took 2 pallets of water to the Spavinaw area, and then we had our staff on scene for about 24 hours after the incidents up there on the tornadoes, but no major injuries.
Well, thank you very much for that. Appreciate that. Any further questions for Marshall? Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Office of Attorney General.
Good afternoon. The Attorney General sends his regrets. He's unable to attend today. He is in Oklahoma City discussing the TAG compact. Since I have limited time, I'd like to first start off with the South Carolina case. I have Chrissy Nebo here to answer any questions regarding that case.
Just want to give you a brief update on this. I know we're running behind. I think you've all been sent the transcript of oral argument. There's also now on the Supreme Court website a link to the audio. I also sent to Shelley a link to a blog that had all of the filed documents posted in this case and let anyone want to read them. Cherokee Nation did seek time for oral argument. The Supreme Court denied our motion for separate time, so we were not allowed to present argument. The father's attorney, the adoptive couple attorney, the guardian ad litem attorney, and the United States all presented argument. It went pretty well. The Chief Justice had some questions about blood quantum and tribal membership that were a little bit disturbing, especially because they were asking about the tribe's membership and the tribe not being able to speak was a little bit of a disappointment to us. Justice Scalia, who is typically a very conservative judge, seemed to be on our side. I'll say that with the caveat that oral argument at the Supreme Court, their comments don't necessarily indicate the way that they're going to vote or the opinion that they're going to write. We hope they do. We hope that what went on in oral argument tells us how they feel about the Indian Child Welfare Act. We expect that we will get a written opinion before the end of June. The way the United States Supreme Court works, it is almost certain that a decision has been made and that the justices have voted and they're now just drafting what we would hope is one opinion that affirms the court below, but what we expect is a majority and a dissent. I would just briefly like to say, I know we just recently voted to join NCAI, and they were extremely helpful in this case. They did a lot of the media organization. The Native American Rights Fund did all of the coordination of the 24 amicus briefs that were filed. We had 333 tribes join in support of Cherokee Nation. And finally, I would like to thank the rest of the Attorney General's office because they all took all of the rest of my work and let me work on this case for the last 3 months. So I will answer any questions if you have them, and I'm available if anyone has specific questions, email, phone, whatever.
Questions?
I think she deserves a huge round of applause. I apologize, I'd step out for a personal break, but is this just AG in general that you're answering questions?
Nope, I'm just
Only
doing
around
this. Nason's on the spot for all the rest of it.
Very good, that was quick. All right, thank you.
I do want to say it was an honor to represent Cherokee Nation, and I was simply doing my job, and it's been really fun, and we will let you all know just as soon as we get an opinion.
I do have one question. I'd asked the Attorney General if he knew of the groups who lined up against us. I'd like to see if there's a list.
Okay, I did send, well, their briefs were listed, but I'll do a short email. Just, I can tell you they are all either adoption organizations supported by private adoption attorneys or private adoption industries. There were a few semi-religious child welfare groups, but we had a brief that was supported by the Casey Foundation, which is one of the largest national organizations, and 18 other national child welfare organizations joined us. So the opposition was very small, but I will get a specific list and get that to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
For your service. Appreciate that. All right.
Next, I'd like to do a brief update on the codification portion. And Christine O'Carroll is here to help me out, give an update on what's going on and the progress.
How are you all this afternoon? Codification is going along really well. It's a monstrous project. It's 10 years in the making at this point almost. So we're making really good headway. We had a discussion with Wes yesterday, and we're very, very encouraged by the progress that's being made. So I don't have a whole lot to report to you. I don't have deadlines or timelines right now, but the project is moving along well. So if you have any specific questions about codification?
Councilor Hamilton.
I have two. When will it be done?
We don't have a specific deadline. The hope is, of course, that it would be done by the end of this year. but I don't have a specific deadline. It depends on questions and answers that come back and forth, because it is a...
And then once it's done, will we be able to easily kind of keep it current, so we don't go through
Yes.
this whole tenure, right?
The
That's the whole plan.
Yes, the plan
Okay.
is to continue to have pocket parts that will be added as they, reach a point that publication would make sense, so.
Very good, thank you.
We'll keep it up to date. Thank you.
Are there any other specific questions?
Any other questions for this morning? All right, thank you, sir. Okay, thank you. We have a representative of the Election Commission with us today. They've been plenty busy, so you're going to pass.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I don't know, because I think we haven't had them, except for a couple of things around the redistricting. But I'm hearing a lot of feedback about people feel like they're not in the right district. So I think it would be good if they were here to answer questions or something next month, if possible.
Okay, we will make sure that that is communicated to them.
Thank you.
I think that I agree they should come next time, but I do think that's on their radar screen, that's my understanding. Tax Commission, Ms. Webster.
Afternoon. I think you have my report. If you have any questions, I will try to answer those. I did pass out a piece of paper with some little cards attached to them. We are working on our tax exemption for our veterans. We've ordered a machine. The cards will be plastic cards, and that's just some different, the cards have some different colors and borders and things like that. And I know the council said they wanted to have their input on that, so I've given you that. The piece of paper is what the Oklahoma 100% disabled veterans card looks like. So the full piece of paper is what theirs looks like, and there's just some difference. So if you have a specific opinion on something you like, if you would let me know as soon as we get that machine in. We're hoping to have our policies and procedures done within the next 30 days with C&E, and then rules and regs, and then we will get the education piece out and get the cards started. And we've received several applications, so we will start getting those out.
Very good. Any questions for Ms. Webster? We'll take a look at these samples. Thank you. All right. I understand Mr. Hastings is here for self-governance. Is that correct? Welcome.
Hi everyone, my name is Clint Hastings. I'm relatively new to the self-governance office. I am a self-governance analyst. I live here in Tahlequah, and I'm a Cherokee citizen, and very, very proud to be here in front of you today. We have Vicki's written report. My primary goal today, or my primary duty, was to tell you that Vicki had planned on being here. She's representing the Eastern Oklahoma region on the Tribal Interior Budget Council this week in Washington, D.C. The tribes of Eastern Oklahoma voted to have her fill former Secretary Head's slot on that council. So she's been here. She was supposed to be here today, but at the last minute, Assistant Secretary Washburn and IHS Director Rubidoux called a meeting to discuss contract support costs this morning. I talked to her before I came over here today. She described that as a productive meeting. Also attached to her report, you have the written testimony of Lloyd Miller, who represents the National Tribal Contract Support Cost Coalition. He testified in front of the Senate Committee on Indian Affairs and the House Appropriations Subcommittee yesterday. Vicki also wanted me to remind everyone that Dr. Rubidoux has been submitted by President Obama for renomination as IHS Director. We have a new Department of Interior Secretary, and that will conclude my remarks. If you have any questions, I'll be sure to have Vicki follow up with you.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Union Commission.
Good afternoon. My name is Rhonda Trumbulla, and I am standing in again for Jamie. I hope you have his report because I didn't get a copy. But if you have any questions for him, I would be glad to take it back to the office and get back with you guys as soon as possible.
Any questions? Okay, then, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Justice. Registrar of Citizenship, data update.
Not any new numbers to report. I just want to give everybody a quick update on the registrar's database. They implemented the new database on April the 1st, so they are in training, working out a few of the bugs, trying to learn the design of the system. So if you have any questions about anything, I'll be happy to take this back to the registrar.
One question, and kind of outside of your realm, but is the registrar going to get more physical space? And you may not know the answer to that question. Just sitting back to it, that's a concern of mine because they're working hard, but they're on top of each other.
I know they have discussed it, but I'll take that back to them.
From what I hear, they'll even be able to increase productivity if they get a little elbow room in there.
I agree. I've seen it.
You've seen it? Yes. All right. Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Justice? All right. Very good. Thank you. Oh, did you have a question,
Yes.
Counselor?
Thank you.
Let's get that question in.
Could you remind me again on the new database, what's new about it, what's changed?
I will get that answer for you.
Are
I
we
honestly
using more
don't know.
than just registrar data?
I don't know. I'll have to go back and look.
Can we get a report on that next time?
Yeah, I'll get it back to them. I'm not actually in the registration
Right.
department, so I'll try to get those answers for you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Counselor. We're back to the old business items. Am I correct with that, Shelley? Old business 2, which is a resolution line for the sale of Cherokee Nation affinity tags. Counselor Baker.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, the Attorney General assured me that we would have a copy of the contract to review before our meeting today. And since that did not happen, I would like to table this until after item 4 under new business.
Second.
Motion is second to table this after item 4, new business. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, this table, sir. That takes us to item number 3. Councilor Fisher.
Due to our attorney being absent, I'm going to table this for a month.
Second.
Second, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Very good. We're now down to new business item number 3. Councilor Baker.
Yes, this is a resolution honoring Jeff Stansel for his work and dedication to preserve Cherokee history and culture. Jeff Stansel has worked at our historic sites in Georgia, first at New Ashoda and then at the Van House. He began in 1980, so he worked for 33 years, and his entire career was preserving, promoting our Cherokee history and culture. So this is a resolution honoring him for this work. And I was able to attend his retirement party on March 3rd. And the speaker was kind enough that we, the council, presented him with a Pinnacle blanket and KBC. But I would like to also have a resolution to go on. So I'll make a motion that we approve.
Second the motion.
Second by Councilor Garvin and Councilor.
I want to be added as a sponsor.
As a sponsor, very good. Does everyone want to be added as a sponsor for this gentleman? Okay. I think we've got everybody added. Very good. All right. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Very good. Thank you, Councilor Baker. All right, we are now at new business item 4. Madam Speaker, you introduced the discussion on this. I think we've got an update, at least, or some comment from the Attorney General representative on this.
Okay, this is for the approval of the motor vehicle tag compact between Cherokee Nation and Oklahoma. And I would put that in the form of a motion to move it into discussion.
Okay, move into discussion. Let's let representative from the Attorney General's office. Mr. Morton, do you have any update for us? I know the Attorney General is in the midst of these negotiations.
Point of information, are we supposed to have a copy of the actual compact in front of us? Because I don't have a copy.
Let's get the update, and I think that'll answer our question.
Okay.
He's in Oklahoma City regarding negotiations as we speak. To my understanding, they're ongoing, and it won't be today. I don't know when the negotiations will end, but if this can be tabled to next month, it would be appreciated.
Motion to table for 1 month.
Second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Morton. Councilor Baker, you are back up.
Yes, this is a resolution applying to the sale of Cherokee Nation affinity tags by the state of Oklahoma. And I would like to move forward with it so that we can get it before the state legislature before they adjourn this year, which may not be possible. But if we have a copy of the compact, since it's before
Mr. Morton, I'm going to have a question for you real quick when Mr. Baker's done. I know you need to leave, but just 1 second. I'm sorry, Mr. Baker. I just want to make sure Mr. Morton is around. You want to get past this for a time for we go for the legislature.
Right. If we have a copy of the compact before the council meeting, if this should pass today, I would consider withdrawing.
Would you yield to me? I have a question for you.
Yes.
Ms. Morton, my understanding is when the Attorney General was here a month ago that this could cause issues with negotiations. Have you heard anything different? Does the Attorney General have any concerns about even this body passing this while he's in the midst of negotiating with the state?
Yes, I believe the Attorney General's wishes are the same, that this matter be tabled until item 4 has been resolved. And it may impact the negotiations as he goes forward regarding the compact.
Very good. Thank you. Mr. Baker.
Yes. Okay. See, as that probably would not be able to go before the legislator this year anyway, since it wouldn't pass until 2 weeks before they adjourn, providing it passed before council. Then I would table it for another month also.
For a month.
Make a motion to table.
Table, second by Councilor Byrd. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Very good.
Thank you. I'll be back momentarily.
Thank you, sir. All right. Madam Speaker.
Yes, on number 5, I would make a motion to table for a month.
Second. Motion and second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right. Item number 6. Councilor Fishing-Hawk.
Yes, I think the speaker has pulled out something that's in our policies and procedures she carried.
Yes, this is just going to be a reminder to everyone, and I'm probably as guilty of this as anyone, so it does a real good job for everybody to be reminded about our conduct. A counselor must conduct himself or herself in such a manner so as to bring honor and dignity to the position for which Cherokee citizens have elected us. A counselor is out of order when they openly address another counselor without being recognized by the Speaker of the Council, fails to confine their remarks to the merits of the motion, and I think that's probably where we all get off. We need to stay on the merits of the motion, not their family, not their kinfolks, but just them. Engages in disruptive activity, speaks in a malicious and abusive manner, conducts themselves in a less than respectful manner, knowingly makes false or untrue statements or comments during our proceedings. I guess this is just a reminder, folks, let's stick to the merits of what we're talking about, and let's don't operate on rumor. No, I'm not looking at anybody in particular. Let's operate on just facts. Anybody that wishes to have a copy of the policy, if they've lost their policies, these are policies that this body made for everyone. If you don't have your copy, or you have lost your copy, or you need to refresh your memory, please see Gail. She'll give you a copy. I'm not saying anyone's guilty of that, but we're probably, I know at times I'm very passionate and I go overboard. I know there's several others in this body that have got passionate and went overboard. Let's just draw our attention to staying with the merits of what's in front of us, and let's operate on fact. If you hear a rumor, then investigate it before you come to a meeting. Let's don't say, I heard this on a cell phone, but I can't tell who called me. Let's don't say, somebody slipped this under my door. Let's don't say, we read this on Facebook. If we've got issues, address it before the meeting. And with that, I would ask Ms. Fishenhall to now withdraw this, but we can bring this back, folks, and it can get a lot harsher. So let's all dial back about 10 paces, myself included. Thank y'all.
And I would second that.
You're not tabling it a month. The motion is not to table it.
Our motion was to table.
For a month. Keep it on the agenda. Very good.
And I'll second that.
Motion is second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right. Councilman Fishinghawk, we ended on time for some reason. Can we put anything else on the agenda? All right, any announcements? Motion adjourned, second. All in favor say aye. All opposed, same sign.